Hello, everyone. Welcome to another exciting episode of ProBar Fireside Chat Series. Here we dive into the world of product management and its innovations. As always, I'm your host, Muhyideen Akanni. I am a senior product manager at BFree and also a proud member and moderator at ProBar. Today we have a special guest. Someone who brings wealth of knowledge and experience to the table. I love the fact that Joseph has been into multiple space, and most importantly, I'm not sure whether you are still mentoring at HNG, right? And I know that's another place that you can get strong coaching and learning to be a product manager, actually, right? So I'm happy that you are the one that we brought in here to talk about this amazing topic. I don't know if you can just like do a little bit introduction about yourself. What's that thing that's that made you think that whole product manager is the thing for you, and how you transitioned and how it has been, basically.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Hi, everyone. I hope you guys are having a good Sunday.
Yep.
So product management for me, I think I transitioned to product management from like writing code. Honestly, because I got a bit frustrated. I'm not going to lie. With having to debug code every time, and I really wanted to be relevant, honestly. I wanted to be relevant in the tech space, and I just really thought about how I could still give value. And product management seemed to resonate with me. I guess because of like past experiences I've had, working as an engineer, like an actual engineer, but like more of handling engineering projects and stuff like that. So I just felt like I could transition all of those experiences or take all of those experiences into product management. And that was how I made the transition to product management. And so far it's been great. I'm someone who likes to build. So I think that as a product manager, you stand at a very, key intersection between what needs to be built and why something is built, right? Why you work with people that handle the how on how to build something. So yeah, it's been an amazing experience so far. Yeah.
Makes sense.
hmm
Thank you so much. And how has it been? I know you said it has been fantastic, but don't you get
The
frustrated sometimes?
challenges.
I
Yeah.
just want to code yourself.
Yeah, like definitely. I feel like as much as there are good sides, there are also like, the bad sides and like the annoying days, the days that are very frustrating. I feel like everyone goes through that, right? Um, I think one very, very frustrating thing about being a product manager is the number of documentation that I've had to write. Um, People probably feel like documentations are, some people feel like it's easy work, like it's light work, but then behind every document, every good product document, let me just be very specific, every good product document, there's hours of work, there's hours of research, hours of thinking about user flows, hours of thinking about user experiences, um, especially because I work in the fintech space, right, where there's a lot of importance that is given to compliance, and there's also trade-offs that you need to make for user experience to be great, right? So I think it's very, very hard work going through that. So I think that's one frustrating part. And then I think another frustrating part is the fact that you can't really control like your output is kind of dependent on other people's work, right?
Yeah.
The designer needs to do his part. The engineers need to do their part, every other person has to do their part, and you're basically the person telling the whole team this is why we're doing this thing, and they are handling the house, right? And obviously like the house, you can't really design, you can't really write code. I mean, even if you're technical product manager, there's still a limit to the things you can do. You can't go into the code base and start making PRs and
Mhm.
whatnot. So
The
like
best
there's a
you
huge
can do,
limit.
the best you can do is
Yeah,
to build the PR. And I mean,
exactly.
you still go back to the engineering lead whether he agrees to it or not. And
Exactly.
man.
Exactly. Like
I know you. I know.
that's how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for touching on that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, one of those things that people. I mean, I know like a lot of people are here and they already feel like I mean, I need to be able to write codes, and though it's a good thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that you see in product today, right? There is this thing that I'm sure that if you write code and you come into product management, there's one thing that is sure that it will be stable, right? Scalability, right? Because you sort of can
Mm-hmm.
know how it should work and how you are ready for the future, right? There's also like when you come
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
design part, right? You can really tell when there is an head of product and he used to be a designer. When you see the product, you can tell.
Mm-hmm.
UI UX
Yeah,
flow
you can.
so mad because that what really concerns that guy is UI UX, right? And that's because I mean, he used to be
Mm-hmm.
where he used to be there. So yeah, thank
Yeah.
you for that. I think I mean talking about all of these things, we actually just even go to the topic today, right? Cracking SaaS code, right? I know
Mm-hmm.
this is like very difficult because a lot of SaaS product out there do not really build products that users love. The what is important to them
Yeah.
is can you use it? Because it's usually B2B to
Mm-hmm.
C the time, right? It's not really B2C when you're building SaaS. I mean, there's the B2C here, but they always like take the B2C part and make it super good for I mean users to love, right? But the B2B part, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you see a lot of SaaS products. I've seen a lot of products, and I'll be like, what are these people thinking? God, must everybody be technical,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
I mean, what's like understanding SaaS, right? The foundation, what's it like,
Mm-hmm.
right? For PMs that are new to SaaS. In short, me personally, I used to tell people that I don't think you should start your product career in SaaS, right? Because it's like you are going to the peak from the beginning, right? It's always super stressful
Mm-hmm.
because I doubt that
Yeah.
you really can build a sustainable SaaS or a good product as a PM when you're new and you're building SaaS immediately. It's okay to build
Mm-hmm.
to B2C first before B2B, right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, take it from there. So how would you describe making I mean managing SaaS products differently from all other types, right? We know that people that do
Okay.
SaaS products, they are the Oga Patapata of PMs, right? So how is it like, right?
Okay, so I would just want to start by saying that I feel like for the most part we don't really pay attention to users. A lot of like you mentioned something about using some products and wondering what exactly like the kind of thoughts that went into that product because it's just not optimized for good user experience, right? So I feel like a lot of times we don't pay attention to the users, and that comes from the fact that we don't pay enough attention to the problems. A lot of times we're just fixated on the surface level. We don't try to go down to the root of the problems to really understand the pain points, apart from just the very clear things like, oh, a user is struggling to order food, or a user is
Mhm,
struggling to do this thing, do that thing. There are still some smaller flows that are mostly ignored. And those flows that are ignored are actually where those are like the places that differentiate those products or those SaaS products that have good user experience from those that don't, right?
mhm,
And you tend to see the progression of products that have good SaaS products, good SaaS products more than those that don't have good user flows, or rather, right? So
yeah,
products that have good user flows versus products that don't have good user flows and user experiences, you tend to actually see the difference, right? Very, very, very distinct. So
yeah, yeah.
I would now want to go into what you asked, which is how or what SaaS products building is like. So I like to think of it in a very, very simple way. SaaS means software as a service, right? Now, a service could be Okay, let's just bring it down to like very simple things that everyone here should be able to relate to. A lady goes to a salon or a guy goes to a barber shop, right? He likes going to a barber shop because maybe he likes a particular barber. Now, that particular barber is always, cutting his hair. And then every time he goes there, the barber is always doing something to make that person's experience better, right? Every single time he's going there, there's something new. Either the barber upscales or the shop looks finer. Maybe there's a new aesthetic feeling to the shop, something like that. So that's a service, right? And the service is improving over time. So let's say you go to the barber shop every week or every 2 weeks, and every time you go there, you're seeing something that is improving your experience. Even when you come in the next 2 weeks and you don't see a change, you still feel compelled to stay back simply because the experience has gotten better significantly over time. So essentially, right, managing a software as a service product is basically it's structured like that, right? So you have to take a product from where you currently meet it. If it's a product that's already in the market, you have to now think about the problems that users are facing now with that product and how to make it better. How can we make this flow easier? How can this onboarding flow be more simple? How can we simplify this? Users are having to, you know, perform a single action in 15 clicks. How can we reduce that? Because 15 clicks might be taking users up to 5 minutes, right? If we reduce 15 clicks to 10 clicks or 5 clicks, if we can do all of those, from a design perspective, we're saving a lot of time for our users. Something that needs to be understood is that attention span is very, very slim. It's very, very small for most people. So we need to be able to take advantage of the attention span. The truth is, most people just make use of products because they don't have a choice. If they see something better, they would actually leave those products that they currently have because I mean they're taking a long time to do stuff. So essentially, working with SaaS product is just constant improvements over and over again. So it's like a restaurant that never closes. You're always just cooking, or you're always baking cake, you're always dishing out pastries, and customers just keep on eating. They keep on eating, they leave their reviews, and it goes on like that. So it's a continuous cycle. It never really ends. It's just continuous. So that's how managing a SaaS product is like.
I love how you've used the use case of a restaurant, right? And honestly, that just talks about it, right? It is, I mean, usually if you look at signature restaurants, there's a lot that they do about their aesthetics every other time. If you keep coming, you will probably just see one new thing that they have changed, most especially yearly,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
that sort of, I mean, there's even outside what is it called, outside like UI and other stuffs, there's also like the scalability part where you have
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
maybe you are expanding to another country, then you are projecting how many users are now going to be using it, or maybe one day
Exactly.
you just onboard a firm like OP and they have thousands of people and you
Hmm.
have to like
Yeah.
scale so that the experience, right, is
Hmm.
super, most especially if the UI is not so beautiful, you want when they click, they get their results. There is like,
Exactly.
yeah, there's like
Functionality.
seamless, right, and all those stuff. Yeah, yeah, makes sense. Thank you so much for that. Um, I think
Hmm.
you sort of like talked about my second question, right? I mean, what's like
Okay. Okay.
it's from idea to impact. I mean, you already talked about it, how you should be careful around how your users perceive your product because
Yeah.
somebody like me, my attention span is even zero. I don't even know why, right? I have
Hmm.
like write things down, like for me to remember. If we are having a discussion and you switch into another thing, I just pick up that thing like I never knew we were talking about something else before. And I mean, and I get it too, right? About products, most especially because I'm a product guy, right? I just feel like, how hard can this
Yeah.
be? Yeah, how hard can just this be? Just put this there, right? And yeah,
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
also, I mean, I think we should go to what's, I mean, prioritization for my organs at the back end. I've already said we should turn on camera. looks like they already have their can ready for me.
Oh,
So
so I have some on my camera.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Let me do that. Try. I didn't prepare for
Okay, you
this.
can take your time. It's okay, you can take your time.
All right. No, no,
Yeah.
no. Like it's not that deep. No worries. Can you see my face?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess you can. All right. Great.
All right, cool. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you look like someone I know, but let's take it off the line. All right, makes sense. So prioritizing features that matters, right? I think this is
Mm,
very, very important for SaaS, right? I
mm,
mean, there's the prioritization bit when you're just building one app, right? And
yeah. Mm,
prioritization bits when building anything for SaaS. Because I mean, I feel like there is most likely not a feature that you want to build on SaaS that can be done in maybe 2-3 weeks, right? So if you don't prioritize it well, it means that you just wasted maybe a month or something on something that users might not use or something, or
mm-hmm.
not bring money for the company. And SaaS is all about making money.
Facts.
It's most
Definitely. Yeah.
business just want to make money. So I mean, how
Mm-hmm.
are you able to constantly like get feedback and request, and how do you decide which feature you want to work on first, basically?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say that their prioritization framework charts. However, um, I think I've come to realize that they don't always work, and especially especially in fast-paced environments. Um, say for example, a startup. Because I mean, like everywhere I've worked in is a startup, right? Like everywhere I've worked in since like
For
is a
real.
startup. So yeah, like I'm really used to just moving fast, like moving really quickly. So I think that prioritization just depends on what is going on at that particular time, right? So something might be important now, and then we just have to prioritize that, because if we prioritize that, it's going to basically make things better for our company. So like if we prioritize that, it's going to basically make things better for our company at this particular time. It's going to push our user experience forward. It's going to have actually help with our business targets and all of that. So that's how I prioritize. We could be working on something now, and then let's say we make a discovery, and then we have to just maybe pause on something, or we're trying to onboard a particular customer that is going to give us a lot of value, that particular person
Like,
is requesting for something. You don't
waiting
find any
for some.
feature that will actually exactly that actually bring them on. So I think that's how like kind of interest in stuff. And I think obviously larger
Yeah.
organizations like you can actually apply some of these certain preferences. It's like a longer cycle, right? There's a
Mhm.
longer cycle. So right now that's how I prioritize. I don't have like particular or a defined method for prioritization. It's just based on what's important right now. So yeah,
I
that's
think
it for
I
me.
think startups customer get to decide, and also when you're trying to
Yeah,
raise, you have told the investors.
exactly. You've told them something.
I mean, they've already promised that, oh,
Yeah.
this is going to happen. It's going to be on your neck, man. Because
Mhm.
uh, yeah, I get that. I get that. I mean,
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
I've also worked in startup, right? I mean, like my entire
Mhm.
life, right? I usually join
Yeah.
company when they are like 1 week old, a day old, or
Wow.
something. So it's always like that,
Uh,
and you'll see maybe the very first use case that you have, you're building it for a certain partner that you have at the time. And
mhm.
because I mean, you're also like new to the space, you are also like building it to welcome that guy. And when you have it, then you now know that it's like I built for one guy. I need to adjust this thing. But I mean, it's a win as an organization you are celebrated. I
Mhm.
mean, you are celebrated. I mean, you
Yeah.
realize that we need to now build for this, then you start scaling and other stuff, right?
Start
And
scaling and making adjustments. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, what's it for you? Speed or quality, right? How do you
Mm,
balance things and building reliable
mm,
product? I understand that
mm.
reliable product is almost non-negotiable for SaaS. You
Yeah.
cannot you can not work next week. They run away. The customer will run away. So I mean, how do you do this?
Mm. Speed or quality, I don't like to pick between the two. I like to pick the two. Like we are moving fast and we're actually moving fast and we're delivering a product that is good though. Like we are
Yeah,
doing everything fast and good. Like quality is important, that speed is important. So I don't like to pick between the two, right? I feel like what I like to do is so there's the concept of MVPs, right? And
yeah,
then I like to bring that down like to even a feature. Like what's the most viable form of this feature that we can release now as quickly and as reliable as possible you get. And
yeah.
then once we release that, we can now make improvements you get. So
Mhm.
like I mean a feature could have something that will make it stand out more, and then it could have this very,
Mhm.
very basic form. So that's how I actually like handle it. So quality, speed, yeah, they go together hand in hand. That's it for me.
Thank you so
Yeah,
Thank you so much. I like the fact that you
yeah.
use the word MVP, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
product managers today have actually used MVP to run away and not build quality products and make it look like, oh, it's an
Mm-hmm.
MVP. Let's just do this, even if it's not stable. No, it's not, because you are rolling an MVP out, it doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot build that entire feature completely, right? Or you are not ready
Yeah,
for scale.
yeah.
No,
Mm-hmm.
you are not building a stable product as at that time, or a good, reliable product as at that time. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a. I mean, somehow, some people. I mean, people that get to mentor me, right, would you'd likes to see what it would be like in the entirety, right? And you
Yeah,
now come and break it in pieces. So that when you're starting from the beginning, you're already collecting data that you need maybe for the next,
exactly. For the future. Exactly.
you already, or you already built it in a way, you already built your schema in a way that is already ready for all those things. It's just that
Yeah,
you're
for
not doing it.
scaling. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, people that I trained on and like kind of mentor me, that's like the idea that they gave me, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's very important, right? So in as much as we
Mm-hmm.
are running speed, we're also building quality, because
Exactly.
whatever you are calling an MVP, be sure that when people are using it, yes, we don't have this or that one yet, but this one that we have
Mm-hmm. Let it
is
work
like,
well. Yeah, let it
hey,
have good structure.
you always like
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Something I like to even tell like people that I work with, right? As much as it's a small thing we're doing now, let's make sure that it's able to accommodate for when things get bigger, right? Like at least I think I have a fair understanding of scaling and architecture and all of those things, even though I don't know detail, but I have a fair understanding to be able to tell them, hope we're actually accounting for when we have 5,000 users or when we have 10,000
Mhm.
users, things like that. So I always like to think about those things because it's super important, super, super
Yeah.
important. All right.
I
Yeah.
think one of those things that we've also done where I work right now is that before we do anything, we sit together, right? And we talk about it. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is what
Yeah.
it's this is what then we built architecture and everything around it. And we already know. In short, if something goes down, we are already expecting it. We know when it should go down. Then you say, I mean, you see us going to a meeting and say, hey, this thing don't go down. You be like, say we don't hit this thing. But yeah, increase them. I know, and I mean, so it makes a lot of sense, right? So it's always
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
like build, and I like that example that you gave. Thank you so much. I think we've already talked about scaling, right? Kind of, but I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
need to about what's like roadmap for scalability is like, right? And, I mean, scalability is also, of course, growth. Growth is the reason why you are scaling, right? I mean, you built for
Mm-hmm.
10 users and now you look at it's looking like you're already at 15. So you need to be able to build for 20 or 50 or 100. How
Mm-hmm.
do you
Yeah.
push this into your roadmap? How do you like capture it and say, from this my intuition right now, so though there's always data, right? But I mean, there's always not enough data when you start, right? So, but then there's always the data after you start. I mean, when you push out your MVP, you can already know what you want to build next and what you should be expecting and all the stuff.
Okay.
How do you get this?
Okay. So I like the fact that you mentioned data. Data is something that I think that every PM should critically obsess over, right?
It should be well, better than ever going.
Yeah, I swear, I swear. Because so say for example now, um, you're working in a you're working with a team that is building a platform for businesses, right? And then in month one, you guys launch into the market. Hypothetically speaking, in month one, you have 10 businesses onboarded, right? Now, you can make an assumption of how many customers you would have at the end of month three based on the
Yes,
efforts that was put into getting those 10, right? So you can
yeah,
have an idea, right? So I feel like once you have an idea of those things, maybe how long it took, what the sales cycle was like, how many people actually had demos versus how many people signed up, you can have an idea. So with that, you can now say, okay, guys, let's prepare for the next 3 months. Let's be ready to get like 30 more customers, right? 30 more businesses. So let's prepare our systems for that. And then also, like we said earlier, I like to always prepare my team ahead, right? Even if we're building small, let's make sure we're building something that can scale, because it's
yeah,
going to get bigger. So scalability is
yeah,
like super important to me. And I think I've been blessed to have like engineers and people that just build for scale, people that design for scale, people that are built for scale, people that handle infrastructure for scale, like DevOps and all of those. So yeah, I think scaling is like something I consider from the very onset, right?
I, I
Yeah.
I should be happy for you that you have engineers that are not rusty. I mean, some
Right.
engineers are just do this and that's what they do. That's all. They don't. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, the way I like to have my team is that I'm telling you to do this and you're asking me a question why, right? It's not
Yeah.
from a
Yeah.
perspective of thinking that, oh, you are not capable or not. Don't, it's not a threat to your work. It's not a threat to the fact that you don't know what you are
Exactly.
doing. When you argue
Mm-hmm.
and you have conversation around it, you get his own view and you guys come into a conclusion, right? And
Yeah.
that's why most of the time I stand up have to, there is always another meeting immediately after stand up. People stay back
Immediately
and
after stand up. Right.
yeah, I mean, usually when you discuss it initially, everybody's just flowing. But when they start seeing design, then they now start asking, why do you want this here? You now say, oh, okay, yes.
Questions.
Why not doing
Exactly.
this? So, and you have all this conversation. It's because they are thinking about it. And sometimes you would do it
Mhm.
this way and they will tell you that the way we've done this thing, we've not done this for scalability. Oh. Because when we scale, this thing will take
Mhm.
forever to load. Can we paginate it?
Yeah.
Can we do this? Do you get? And that's
Exactly.
how
Yeah.
like
I
you allow
understand
your
that.
that it's one band and one music, right? So regardless,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
see yeah, my engineer will sit down and review PRDs, right? And comments, right? Sometimes it might come from the facts. And I always like to have my conversation in public so that when somebody is trying to feel lazy and doesn't want to do it, other people will just say, guy, calm down, do this in this way. I think you can do it this way. I think, and before you know it, you get it done. Um, thank you also for that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, this is another part, right? Customer retention and its models, right? And how do you do this, right? How do you drive retention from your subscription also, right? I know you guys, people in SaaS
Okay.
used to do some things that used to, you hide one feature and you come and allow them to come and actually I'm also building SaaS at the moment. It's been a lot of learnings and it's been a lot of up and down. And even though I have like one customer at the
Mm.
moment, uh, I mean, the customer, it looks like you want to build an MVP and Moniepoint is your first customer. You know what it is?
Mm.
Like, it's a lot of teams, a lot of, I mean, and it's just trying to, and you're building a lot of features at the same time and trying to like scale,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because when Moniepoint wants to send an SMS, they are not going to send for 100 people. They want to send for 5 million people.
Mm.
So you're building and you're scaling.
Okay. Mm.
That's like
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing right now. It's really a lot of tough time. So I mean, how for you, like I mean, I SaaS, you guys go on renewals, right? It's not just about somebody signing up for the first time. How do you make sure the guy
It's
comes back,
continuous.
right?
Yeah. Okay, so I think one very important thing is maintaining value. The value you give, especially businesses, right? The value you give a business at point A, make sure
Mhm.
you maintain that value at point B, and make sure you maintain it at point C, and just on and on and on and on. The moment you stop giving your customer that value, at that point you start to lose their trust. And once trust is broken in business, we all know how that goes. So it now ties down to a product. Once the trust is broken, once there's no more reliability, for example, you promise a customer that, okay, their payment is supposed to process under 1 minute, and you start doing that month one, month two, month three, month four, month five, month six. It's now taking up to 5 minutes, and you don't communicate. You
Pretty
don't tell
low.
them it's been on. You don't tell them we're sorry about this, but this is what we're doing to fix it, and then it doesn't change, and then it goes on from month six, seven, eight, nine. That customer will most likely churn, because you're not the only product in the market that's doing that thing. They will go somewhere else to get something better. You understand? So I feel like once you have a customer, you need to maintain value, and like there are lots of things involved in maintaining value, right? Um, it ranges from improving a particular feature. It also ties also goes to adding features that complement that particular feature. It goes to improving the user experience, um, shortening the time to action, right? If when your customer onboarded in month one, they used to do something in, like I mentioned earlier, I'm very, very particular about clicks. I like to
Mhm.
make sure that if something can be done in 2 clicks, why is it five? Why is it 10? Like,
Why is it
why?
even
Why is it even a click? You get,
yeah,
like, why can't it just happen? I mean, like, if
yeah,
wishes were horses, right? Like that would be the case. And
yeah,
I think thanks to AI, that is, like we're getting to that point, right? But then that's essentially how I like to think. The truth is, once a customer understands your product and you improve the user experience of that product and you maintain customer relationship, you maintain that relationship with them apart from the business side of things. I feel like you will keep them coming back. Most companies that have customers returning is because they maintain those relationships. I mean, like a very good example is Piggyvest, right? Piggyvest is they are great at maintaining that relationship, apart from the fact that they have a great product. Piggyvest will send you random checking emails, right? If
yeah,
you've not saved money, they'll ask you, what's up? Are you good? We've not heard from you for a while, things of that nature. So I think like those are the different things that you can do. So it depends on what you're working on, the product you're working on, how your team is, the dynamism in your team, how you guys handle sales and marketing and all of that. Because all of those things just come together to make the whole food very sweet. So yeah.
yeah. Thank you so much for this. In short, I love everything you've said. I love how you still made it clear that regardless of whatever you are building, customer
Mhm.
satisfaction is very important.
Very
And
important.
I mean, if you are doing customer satisfaction, of course, you are improving your product every now and then. You're probably listening to them, and at the same time, if you do this, automatically business will make money, right? Because the customer stays, then they keep subscribing, right? They keep using the
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
And I love one thing that you talked about SaaS, which is like communication, right? They are using your product to also service their own customer. If there is
Yeah.
anything that happen, it is important that they know and they are aware
Mhm.
and they throw the
Yeah.
updates there. I think one of those products in fintech that I like that is good with communication almost immediately is Kuda, right? If you log in into Kuda and there are some apps that is before you even try, before you hear for social media or Twitter that something Could have already told you that, you know what, if you
Yeah,
transfer to them
exactly.
by not go. And I'm sure that whether it's NIBS, I don't know who is servicing them there, whether it's NIBS, whether it's what's this other people? Oh sure, not forgotten. Whoever or InterSwitch, right? Whoever is servicing them
Infrastructure.
is communicating real time, and they are also like communicating immediately. I mean, saying maybe they have
Exactly.
like somebody that is sitting on that desk and is looking at it, or maybe they have like
Mm-hmm.
some sort of metrics that is looking at each bank, right? To
Yeah.
see that if we've gotten failed transaction, five failed transaction in a day, then something is wrong. Go and tell your people.
Something is wrong.
Tell your
Yeah.
okay? I mean, these things are stuff that you can also do in SaaS, right? I mean, you are seeing it
Definitely.
at your own end, right? Maybe you service the entire bank, and you can see that a particular bank has already. I mean, you can easily get more numbers than an individual bank because by the time Kuda has done, you probably have done 20, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, Kuda is using you, Wema Bank is using you, everybody's using you, right? I mean, you can now
Mm-hmm.
use that communication flow to send to them and all those stuff. I love
Definitely.
everything, and I like how he's actually speaking to, I mean, challenges that we have today, right? If you take
Mm-hmm.
everything that we've out the way, you most likely will strive as a PM, right? And your products will not go anywhere. I think this will take us to the end of this um,
Mm.
virtual chat. I don't know if people have questions. Yeah. Okay, I thought you raised your hand. Go ahead, Maureen.
Hi, Joseph. This was a very,
I'm
very like session. I
Mhm,
think you sort of answered one of the questions I had when you guys talked about building a SaaS, like for a scenario where you build a SaaS product, and because software is not something that everybody uses, usually for
mhm,
businesses, and then
yeah.
you build it,
mm.
and it's just probably one customer or two customers that you have, but they are
Mm.
requesting for features and requesting for features, and they are using it for like 1,000 customers, and it just gets very, sometimes it can get very overwhelming. So I'm just like,
Mm.
okay, how do you prioritize and I know you said something about prioritization metrics, like how do you tell them that, oh, this feature, I mean, we can do it, but right now we can't push this feature at this time, right? Maybe later, like a future iteration. But the problem is they are the only customers you have, or it's just them and another customer. So you can't, if you tell them, you risk the possibility of them leaving you because you can't give them that particular feature. And you yourself,
Mm.
you know that it's going to be very tasking. So yeah, I think that's
Okay, so that scenario you painted is something that, funny enough, like that's a scenario that I recently experienced, like where I currently work. So I can relate to it so much, and I mean, like I can remember how my CEO was going on about how that we need to actually do this quickly, because if we land these customers, I mean, like that would be really good for us, right? So how I like to do it is to be very honest with customers. Um, don't make promises you can't keep. The truth is, every customer, especially if it's a business, right, they understand that there are goals, they understand that there are targets, they understand that there are timelines. So, how I think you can handle those customers, this is what has worked, is by being as transparent as possible. Tell them this your ask is a great one. This is how it's going to help you, even more than what you think it will help you with. And this is how long it's going to take for this to happen. And this is when we plan on actually giving that feature to you. Now, once you communicate, because communication is something that is so underrated, right? We feel like we don't need to tell customers timelines. We feel like we need to tell them why this cannot be done now. But the truth is, if you let them know why this cannot be done at this moment they're asking for it, they can understand, especially if you have a track record of giving them value over time. They just understand that you want to take your time to give them the best possible service. So I think that that's what you can do. Transparency, communication, effective communication and transparency would save you a whole lot of drama. And then don't forget to don't promise what you can do. Don't make promises to customers. I think that's like the biggest pitfall that we did for ourselves. Don't make a promise to a customer. Tell them it's in the pipeline. This is when we plan to actually get it out there. And then now internally within your team, start to gradually and strategically just rearrange things and reprioritize based on what is being asked for. Yeah, I think that would help for sure.
Oh, thank you so much, Joseph. That answers my question perfectly. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
most
you.
welcome. You're welcome.
I was going to say that too. I mean, how else is just to make sure that you communicate and just like let them know that this is what's going to happen. And I think another thing that I know that also works is that don't leave it at, oh, it will happen next week, right? Or in 2 weeks, right? Come on and tell them that, hey, it's still in track. We are still working. So they understand that. I mean, it's like these guys are working for us. Let it look that you as a PM, they are just for them. Ensure they hire you in that company to be doing.
Exactly.
That time I have trust in you, come and have conversations with you. You'll see them have conversations with your CEOs and more senior person, and agree, and they'll come into your DM and say, "Gafa, this thing will fit to them." And I mean,
exactly.
This will really help you. It makes you go a long way. And yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for like talking about the fact that you have to be transparent, right? Most especially when you are dealing with businesses. It is also, you need to understand that it is like being a middleman, right? If you promise them Tuesday, likely I'll go and do a campaign around it for that same Tuesday. Or maybe they are smart enough, they give it Friday, right? But I mean, you promise them Tuesday and you started on Tuesday, right? It's going to like mess them up. And but if they know that, oh, this thing is not going to happen until this certain time, mind you, you also need to, you're a product manager. You need to know that, oh, more, if this thing is going to happen this week, and this week, you need to put some timeline. So attend, just make sure that like adding that into it. So that, that one is very important because
very
engineering will stay in your white shirt. They go stay now like
real life. They go stay now.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I don't know if anybody has any other question. All right. I think that will be it. This brings us to the end of this section, and a very big thank you to you, Joseph. I think I love everything that you said here, and I love how they are all coming from experience and actually deep insights, right? It's been an absolute pleasure having you here. And to everyone that joined, thank you for tuning in and engaging. Please don't forget, we have YouTube channel. Subscribe. We are on Instagram. Subscribe. We are on every channel, even the community. But Nifemi, please help us post so that they follow. Thank you. So that you don't miss gems like this. Look at the wealth of knowledge that's just effortlessly.
Oh my God. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have been invited for this. Honestly.
Like how this is right?
I'm so happy to have been here. Patricia and Nifemi, they followed up with me so much. It's just been like a good time coming, talking with them. And I'm glad that I was able to share some of these things that I've been able to learn in my very little life. But yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Muhyideen. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Nifemi. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you
to the ProBar team for making this happen. And until the next time, host guys, you need to keep building, you need to keep learning. It is important that you learn, right? And that's why we have things like this, right? If you don't learn, you just people product are moving faster. Somebody will give that same product that you build and you just like they'll forget you. In short, they will call you their name. Today, most of the time, people still call boats Uber. Do you understand? Like, though, even if Uber is thriving and is doing well, right? Imagine that Uber is not doing well at all. My dad today we only say book Uber for me, whereas he means boats. All right. So it's just like that, right?
Actually,
And I mean, keep learning, keep creating products that actually make an impact, right? I mean, that's the only way that you keep getting more customers and retain the existing ones. Thank you, everybody. On to the next one. See you on our.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. Bye bye, people.